Let's ask our panel liberal commentator Danielle McLaughlin, and from the Independence Women's Forum and the Heritage Foundation, Kelsey Bowler. Thank you so much for joining us. Danielle is in studio. Kelsey is in Chicago. Danielle, I'm going to start with you just based off of some of your notes I saw you send earlier. You wrote that they have to meet populism with populism. We're seeing this trend across the globe. Why is that happening, and how could the Democratic Party meet populism with populism? Explain that to me.
Well, I think what the president has done so well at is to speak to the every man, the every woman in this country, and has told them the institutions of government are not working for them. And so we saw this actually in 2016. He was one of 17. We had some very traditional Republican candidates. He bested them all. I think that whoever comes up on the Democratic ticket has to meet that energy, has to meet that message, which is actually, I am for you, I am one of the people also. The institutions of government might have failed you, but I'm not going to fail you. I think it has to be a populism versus populism argument.
Kelsey, do you actually think that there's anybody that can fulfill that role that was just described by Danielle, somebody that is there for you, the working class?
Certainly not on the Democrat ticket. This truly was a historic election for the UK, and it really opens the door for more good news to come from the Trump administration, including a brand new trade agreement between the US and the UK, and a strengthening of our partnership in standing up to foreign aggression from Iran, Russia, and China. And I think we have to put these elections into context with what's happening here. It certainly is a rejection of the liberal elite ruling class, both politicians and the media. It's a trend that's happening here in the UK and elsewhere, and it really is difficult to stop.
So, yeah, go ahead.
No, well, I guess one thing I will say about this so-called liberal elite, of course, I mean, you think about Attorney General Bill Barr, who was a $30,000 holiday party at the Trump Hotel in D.C. So
good point.
I think we should be clear about the elite. There's elite on both sides of the coin here. I'm not going to take Kelsey's point away, though, that institutions we're seeing, and it's not obviously just here. We've seen this in Hungary and across Eastern Europe. We're seeing this obviously in the UK. The other thing I want to say about this particular election was also that it was the weakness of Jeremy Corbyn. His negatives were, he was negative 40. You know, his approval rate. He was not a popular politician. He messed up with his messaging around Brexit. He was wavering. What the Labour Party should have done was said, we are the party of Remain, because we saw a lot of Remainers saw too much murkiness from Labour and basically went with the clarity of Boris Johnson.
Kelsey, to bring it back to local politics, local being in the United States, and just what Danielle brought up, the fact that you have a leader, somebody that resonated with the people, regardless of their platforms and their policies, is that really what it takes? And I feel like you can apply it to everyday life. People make assumptions about somebody within the first 30 seconds of meeting them, and they need to resonate and connect with them. So is that the case with the president, and the lack of case for the Democratic Party, that there's no charismatic leader?
I think charisma matters a great deal, as do authentic candidates. I think we see that in Boris Johnson as we do in President Trump, and voters ultimately just want honesty with all the information that's out there. And, heading into 2020, I think this is a good sign for President Trump. And let's put it into context. The same week that he is facing impeachment from House Democrats, we had House Democrats agree to move forward his landmark USMCA trade agreement. We just heard the announcement of a phase 1 of a trade deal with China, and now an opportunity to strengthen our partnerships with the UK. Things are really looking good for a president who is in the middle of impeachment.
Yeah, you brought up a great point, especially the timing of the USMCA that just seemed to come out right after the impeachment comments. But I'm just going to have one quick question for the both of you. The moderates right now, if the Democrats were to swing them over, or you had President Trump that won them over, what will it take to get those that are wavering on the fence right now, the ones that are maybe more inclined towards Joe Biden? Danielle.
Well, certainly the president has some work to do with suburban women. We're seeing his support slowly eroding, and it's been eroding really even since the midterms. The white working class is very important in the general election. Obviously, you think about the people who voted for Bill Clinton, and especially the Obama voters who then migrated to Trump. Mm-hmm. It has to be an economic message, and to Kelsey's point, a strong economy helps an incumbent. An incumbent has a natural advantage anyway. So a strong economy, these trade deals, it obviously they're tailwinds for the president at this point.
Kelsey, do you think it's the same thing? The economy is going to sway the moderates towards the president?
I absolutely agree. If the economy continues to be this strong, the president is going to, have an easy road to November. But also, it's about a rejection of socialism. The Democrat Party has just veered so far to the left. We saw this in the UK. We're seeing it here, and that's just absolutely repelling any sort of moderate voters from being able to support them and their policies.
Danielle, Kelsey, thank you so much for all of your informative thoughts. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.